we're still trying to answer the question, can we make a dry place to work? The wind declared war and we're not gonna lose. Hi, welcome to another Korg Industries video. I'm Jamie, and today I'm building that fucking thing. So we've got some parts laid out on the truck, and I dug out the instruction manual, and then of course you can see all the bits and pieces laid out here. And this is for our new shed. The previous attempts were great attempts, and barring some outside factors, they might have worked. But we made the strategic decision to stop messing around and just solve the problem. So we've got a fancy metal shed, and it's going to be all anchored on footings and screw things I got that go into the ground and like tie it down so that it's tight. Like, it's not going anywhere. Important. Please read this instruction carefully before installation. I see a problem. Have at least 5 adults during installation. I'm not quite sure we even qualify as 2 adults sometimes. Failure to do so may result in injury. Well, based on the one video I saw of somebody putting it together, if the instructions continue as the way I assume they do, they're stupid instructions and we're not doing it that way anyway. So I'm gonna have a little flip through this, giggle some more, and see how we need to proceed, because we need at least one section together, one section of the framework together, just like this, so that I can get the spacing for the posts. So that I can get the spacing for the posts to sit on the pedestals correct. I don't want to dig a bunch of holes for those buckets until I can make sure the spacing is right. So let's have a little look. So I'm going to work on getting a section of frame together. So we've got the roof pieces, so I've got to get a couple of number 2s and some 6-stroke 1s and some 4. I got to get all these bits, and I've got to make 2 of these frame rails. And then those 2 frame rails will make, let me find the other page for you. Those 2 frame rails will make a single 5-foot section. And that section we will be able to move into place where it's gonna actually be put and get our footings in the correct positions, because this ground is not fun to dig in. There's like multiple layers of rocks under the rocks that we put down, and like, I know clay is bad, but I don't know what this is. It's some kind of like super clay. I was like having to chisel at it with the shovel and hit the shovel with it was a mess. So you'll get to see some more of that. And yeah, so thanks for tuning in, and watch the struggle as it happens, and then hopefully at the end we have a nice place to work, because this shed looks pretty nice. So we're gonna do it the right way. Yeah, these instructions are dumb. Okay, so what the instructions have you doing is framing out the roof section and then completing the entire roof section, the roof panels and all, so that you end up with just the whole roof sitting on the ground. Then it wants you and 4 of your favorite people to physically pick the roof up and put the poles under it. We're not like this. It wants you to pick it up and put the, we're not doing that. What we're going to do is we're going to, yeah, here's a good picture. We're going to construct one section of this frame, and then we're going to construct the next section. We're going to construct all the frame and then put the roof panels on from a ladder, because that just makes more sense. Why would you try to pick up all that when like you could just frame it out and then put the roof on? Like, that's how most stuff's kind of built anyway. So yeah, so the instructions are actually really clear though. If you had a whole bunch of people, you could definitely do it that way. They definitely show you like how to assemble it. So we're just gonna take a bit of liberty with them because we don't have more people to help, and put it together in such a way that it is safe and functional. So we need G2s and G4s, and I like the way they have everything packaged. Like, everything's nicely packaged and labeled. So these are all the screws for the roof panels, and then these are 12 by 20s and 6s, more screws. What we got in here? 12 by 20. So which ones do we actually need? Let's see, we have to look up. So it's got us the package number, and then if we flip over to the reference list, it'll show us the size, and then we know which one we want. So we need G4s, which should be bolts and nuts. So G4s are M6 65 inches, and the nuts. So we need M6 65. So that's probably, so we got M6 65s, and then M6 nuts. Put these out of the way. I'm wondering, maybe I want to also add some Loctite. I mean, it's a structure. It shouldn't get loose because it's not moving. Are these symmetrical? This is a nice tube.
That's one fucking nice kitty right there.
I got to undo the thing I did to redo the thing I did to do the thing I was supposed to do. Because this has nuts welded in it, and those holes, and they need to go this way. And we can put these back on. Yeah, see, I need the team of other people so that while I'm doing this on camera, they can do all the other ones. And then I can just skip to the next step and don't have to do any of the work. That'd be a nice add-on. Like, where was that option in checkout? Oh, I guess they do offer, like, professional installation and shit, don't they? It will forever drive me nuts if I don't put all these the same direction. I guess the whole reason for them having you assemble it, like the roof on the ground, is to keep you from having to put the roof on from a ladder. Which would make sense from a, like, novice consumer standpoint, because most people aren't comfortable on a ladder. But, like, I installed commercial signage, so it's not that big of a deal. I think it'd be easier to do it the way that I'm doing it. Well, all of them have them on both sides. So why is that one different? Is it a different angle or something? Oh, it doesn't have those holes. It's a good thing I'm not a kitty, because I'm curious. Something to keep in mind if you're building something similar to this, another shed or whatever. If it's possible while you're putting it together, leave all your joints and stuff a little loose. Like, don't tighten them down. That way things move, because we've got to put these crossbars on here as well. And that little wiggle might be needed to get it lined up. So you want to get everything in position, then you tighten it down. That way you don't have to go back and loosen things, and it just makes it easier. So, helpful tip. Okay, now you are going to go in here. So far, this seems to be like above bog standard China junk standard. Like it's decent quality. That's really nice. Like these things cost like pennies to these guys. The fact that they include a few extra just in case their count was wrong or you drop one like I did earlier, like that's I approve of that. This is, I don't think in the instructions, this is just a me thing. Because this is a roof and this is structural, before I tighten all this stuff down, I want it to be sort of in the configuration it's going to be, so that all these joints are being stressed the way they're going to be when this is a roof. So you can see, like if I pick it up, it kind of flops. So we don't want to tighten it down like that. We want to make sure that it's like settled, I guess would be the right word. I know that is a big engineering thing with building like bridges and stuff, like the way things are and how they're tensioned, like it's really important. So I just want to make sure that it's settled. Looks like the other side is a 10mm. Very JDM of it. Pre-installation notes. Assembly is, that's one word. Assembly is now one word. Assembly is not recommended during heavy wind or rain. So not for sale in the state of Oregon. Trying to do a thing the right way. So it's probably going to be a mess. That's how that works, right? The big reason I actually wanted this particular one over some of the others is it had these cross beams, and this is like, it's already made this so much more rigid than this just these joints. So it should be a very stable structure, even though it doesn't look like it's much. And then after it's all assembled, a couple of weeks or so, we can go back and check these, and if any of them are loose, we can throw some Loctite on them, and then we shouldn't have to worry about them. And then so the other thing about the way I'm doing this is, since we only have a lease for the property, we don't own it, we can't do anything to modify the environment. That means I can't pour like actual footings or an actual slab like I'd like to. So some of the hackery and weirdness is just how things have to be to make sure that, you know, we don't do anything the owner doesn't want, that kind of stuff. Okie dokie, that's one of the A-frames done. Now got to do another. So we're getting the last roof cross beam put together here. Just got to tighten up the last intersection, but you can see we got those 4. I'm doing the 5th one. Next, we will have to get 2 of them on their feet. So we've got more poles like this that will go in the ends. And once we have 2 sections like that, we can bridge them together with the cross beams that go across. And we can use that to set up our distance and posts and stuff. So I'm going to get this finished tightened down, and then we're probably going to get these moved out of the way so they don't get messed up, and go from there. So I'm getting the crossbars here prep. Let me get them broken loose. And then what I'm going to do is put the crossbars on one side of frame while it's laying on the ground. And then we'll be able to pick that frame up and it will lean against the bottom cross braces, and then we can get the other frame put against it. If we had tons of space and we had 4 people that we wanted to invite over, it probably would be a simpler method of construction following the instructions that they sent. But we're having to adapt it to be able to do it by ourselves and within the space we have. So that's why we're departing from the instructions, but probably would be more straightforward to do it their way. So if you are buying one, just weigh your options, make sure that you're safe and not doing anything that you're not comfortable with, or that could, leave you needing to go to the hospital without having help or something. So always be aware of that kind of stuff. Everything is so cold. We did these 2 bars. Those ones there are the ones I have in it. And now we need to do the lower ones. And they're a little different. So we got to make sure they get put on in the right direction here. On the diagram here, it shows trace lines for which holes the bolts are supposed to go through. The problem is, and even in the diagram, it just does not match up to reality, because here's our pole. So if our pole is oriented the same direction, so like this, the holes are backwards. Like, I have to use the lower one. So either this was done differently than the instructions, or the instructions were done differently than this. They're not copacetic, is what I'm saying. So we're just going to put it together where it clearly fits. And again, we're leaving stuff a little loose. So we're just going to go from there. That's why I don't like instructions, because see, you try to do it like the instructions, but sometimes you can't, and then it freaks you out and you worry. That looks like it does in all the diagrams, just the bolts are not in the spots it says to put the bolts, but you can't put the bolts in the spots that it says to put the bolts in. So I figured the bar being how it's supposed to be is more important than the bolt being where it's supposed to be. Okay, let's check which one goes on which way. What, how? Okay, so foot goes in, bar goes on. Straightforward enough. When I do the review on the website, I should remember to make a note about this in it, that the bolt hole traces don't necessarily line up, but everything still fits together. That way other people don't freak out about it. Is that the right bolt? Is that a short bolt? That's a short bolt. Okay, this side's done. Let's go over to the other side. Spin, 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 spin. See, it's still bothering me that it's not like the instructions say, even though this is clearly how it needs to go. Okay, got all the little crossbars, I guess that's what they'd be called. Got all those in, and they're loose. So now I'm going to ask for some help to get this standing up and the other one moved into position so we can get them bolted. So we're gonna put all you guys and gals and peoples on a tripod so that I can get some help, because I don't want to struggle trying to do this and bend something. So bear with us a second and we'll get set up so you can see what's going on. And we're going to get this section put together. And once the section's put together, then we can get places for our footings marked out. And we're well on the way to having a nice shed. We decided that we're going to go ahead and get the whole thing kind of assembled and loose. We figure it'll be plenty stable enough loose like that, and we can shimmy the whole thing around to make sure that it's square and all before we bolt it down. And we didn't want to leave just one section up for fear that for whatever reason it might fall over. Like, it's not a lot, but considering the luck we've had with every other shelter attempt, we're trying to make sure that this one doesn't go anywhere. So we're going to get the other sections put up quickly before it starts raining, and that will probably conclude today's work. And then we'll be back when we're doing holes, because there's holes to be dug. Okay, so we're trying to quickly get this section secured, and I put that bar on backwards. We're trying to get this secured because it's about to pour down rain, and we're going to put everything up. So I'm quickly going to fix this so I can tighten it down, and we'll get back to it when we can get back to it. I'm digging holes. Shia LaBeouf would be proud.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad! You keep digging!
I am running the string to be a level line. So by going across the top of that bucket, which I know is the correct height from doing the same thing with that bucket, I'm just making a physical, visual representation of what is level for my buckets. So the buckets need to go in the ground where the height, so the top of the bucket is touching the string. And then that lets me know that that side is as level to itself as it can be. It's all very close enough. So I moved the string there. I need to go make sure that it's still level, and then I can figure out bucket placement. So the line here is like meant for doing this kind of thing. It's actually called mason line or mason string. You'll see people doing foundations do lines and stuff like this, and it's just a way to get your level and then build your foundation or your blocks or your forms or whatever to that height. I know there's actual terms for all this stuff, but I've never claimed to be an expert in this area. I just kind of know enough about it to make sure that it works for what I'm doing. It's all very close enough because we're not pouring a foundation. The buckets are our footings, so they just need to be level to each other so that the structure's level. And this just gives me a nice way to visualize that and to do everything without having to it's what it is it's a fixed reference point that I can base everything off of together. So instead of having a reference point for every single bucket, I have a universal reference point that all the buckets can be to. So if my reference point is off, at least everything is off in the same amount and everything is true to itself, so that the structure is true to itself. If it's a little crooked, a little unlevel, that's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be good. So now that I have the string, I can look at adjusting the frame and figure out where the buckets are going to go. And I'm kind of concerned right here because this one looks like it might just be sitting on the ground. So we might have to pile up some dirt around that because there's a pretty deep gap there. So I think we mentioned before in a video that we're just kind of leasing the property, and it's been around forever. Other people have lived here and people have dumped some stuff here. Well, we're doing a bit of archaeology, digging the hole for our footing, and I've already pulled out plywood at a weird angle, but there's like styrofoam and glass and like all kinds. See, this is why like recycling is important, because this stuff doesn't go away. This has been here for, I don't know, 15, 20 years probably, and it's still here. And like there's more stuff under there. Like I don't need to go any deeper, but if I was trying to like pour an actual footing here, I would need like a little mini excavator at this point, because I'd have to dig up this whole area. And like at some point, I'm probably going to have to come back and try and dig some of this up, because I know it's here now and it's going to bug me. But make sure you're disposing of stuff properly. Like, don't just chuck it in the wood, even if it's your own woods. Care about the environment enough to not just throw shit on the ground and go, eh. Like, there's places you can take it, and yeah, sometimes it costs a little money, and that's kind of shitty, I agree. But, like, what if you're giving the land to your kids or something? Do you want them digging up old glass and styrofoam and crap just because you didn't want to throw it out? Like, we as humans got to be a little better than this. But I'm going to go back to digging a hole now. Thanks for attending my TED Talk.
By your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
So we've got a progress update for you. The frames are going up rather nicely. As I said earlier, we're doing a little different than the instructions simply because the amount of space that we don't have, and we've only got 2 people. So the way we're doing it, it's completely safe and good for 2 people. So if you only got you and a friend or partner or whatever, this is still something you can do. You just need to be careful and take your time and kind of plan it out. So where we're at right now is we have 4 of the 5 sections up. So you can see they're up and the crossbars are in place. Some things are a little tighter than others because we're still shimmying it around to get our buckets done. So if you look down here, you can see we got strings all over the place to get our buckets good. So I talked about this string here being our kind of level line, and then we've got some run between our legs. So these are here to keep our base width, so the distance between this pole and that pole at a roughly fixed distance, because these want to kind of push out. It's just the nature of the way it is. That's why you're supposed to bolt them down. It's so that it stays, you know, secure and square. So we've got lines there just to help us keep everything kind of nice and true as we're going down. So we started with this section, and then we attached this one, and we're working our way down piece by piece. And we're putting the string lines on as we go to try and keep everything straight. We have buckets on this side, so that this side of the area, there's a major depression in the ground. So this one's basically just sitting on the ground level. I'll get some more dirt to pack around that and and make it a little more stable. And then you saw the video from that one when we were doing it. And then the final one there is not exactly where we want it, but there's a big root, so that's where it has to go. You can come over here and take a look. That's a big root, and we don't want to mess with the big root, so we made it work. It can go there. It's going to be a little towards the edge, but that's okay. It'll be fine. So yeah, we're almost done with the framing. We've got to move some stuff to get it out of the way. Then we can get this last section on and the footing on this side done. So we've got 4 out of the 5 sections put up. I don't know what that percentage is, but we're getting close to having all the framing done. And then once we have the footings on this side put in, we'll go over there and mark our area and dig the holes over there for those footings. That should be a lot more straightforward, other than the digging through this ground, which is questionable. So yeah, there's a little bit of a progress update for you. We're gonna get this other section put up and try and show you how we're doing it, so that if you're doing it with just one other person, you can kind of see the method that we came up with that works for us. Okay, so we've got the big long upright bar, and this is the hoop. So it needs to rotate like down. Yeah, like that. And then make sure it's going the right way. And then while holding that, you got it? I can go do this other one. Okay, and now I can put bolts in. Where'd they go? Ah. Okay, go do the other side.
You could say something too about like you could just do this on the ground, but we don't have room to do it.
So if you have the space, you could do this with it just laying flat on the ground.
I would say
Okay.
because they can't see you. Go, but Jamie, why? Don't do it like that. Because we don't have room, guys.
Okay, so I've got the bolts in. Let me set this down. If you have the space, you could totally do this with it just laying on the ground and not need somebody to hold it. We don't have that much space. So while I'm talking, she's still holding it. So let me help her. We're gonna get it stood up and kind of put in place. And then she's gonna hold it while I run around and put a couple of the bars on to support it. And then we can like get it all buttoned up. So we had a bit of technical mishap with the camera, and we want to show you putting this up so that you can see how to do it if you need to do it with less than 5 people. I happen to notice that these were backwards from the rest of them, so while it's down, I'm just flipping them. Not really a requirement, because these would be up top by the roof, but it'll drive me nuts if I don't do it, and I'd rather do it while it's on the ground and easier than doing it from a ladder later on when I finally eventually remember that it's driving me nuts. Okay, those are tight. Also, we've gone ahead and put up these top bars. That way, when we stand up the final frame, all we have to do is line them up and attach it to the end here, and that will make it stable for us to let go and finish putting the rest of it together. Our footing over here is not correct, but you can see the elevation difference here. We needed something to set this side down on that didn't cause the whole thing to be tweaked. So that's why that's there. It'll get fixed. And then the other side is still level-ish, so it'll be fine. And we're going to clean up a little anyway. Okay, so the crossbars here are pretty straightforward. It's just bolting them on the same way as all the others. The feet are a little fiddly, so we're going to show you one of the feet here. So because we've been putting these up in sections, we've been putting bolts in each one. And to get the bar to fit for the next one, we've got to pull these out. So I'm going to loosen these and take these out. And then we've been putting all of these bottom ones in the direction, so we only have to take the nut off to put the new beam in place. So I'm just going to get this on the correct side, and then I can slot it in, get that nut back on. And it's not such a big deal on the bottom, but that does help with these, because leaving the bolt in that side keeps this bar from falling down and lets you grip the whole thing to hold it together. So just a tip there. Get this kind of snug. Get our bottom one back in. And then I'm going to come back and tighten that some more. But we're going to go over here to this one, and we're going to put the foot on. So the foot slides into the pole. So we're just going to lift it up enough to get that in there. Of course, it's fighting me. So that's in there. Get it kind of lined up. And then because this is the outside bar, so this is outside, this bolt I'm going to do the opposite way, so that the outside is flush and we don't have to worry about catching anything on it. Just run that down. Put that one in. And that's what we've been doing. Woo, woo. I have done that on every single section, and I have not learned. Okay, so that's what we've been doing with the bars, is just moving section by section. It's probably taken us a little longer than if we just had 4 people and did it. But again, we're just showing you how we're doing it. And it's working for us, and I've got no complaints about this thing so far. Everything's gone together well. The couple little issues we have had have been pretty much my fault for looking at something wrong or needing to just take a second and look at it better. We're gonna get this snug and get it secured, and then we'll be back with you in the next not so rainy moment to do the rest of our footings and get the roof put on. So let me get this snugged up. So this is where it all started. This is our fixed point that had to be here. So everything is referenced off of this one footing. The height up off the ground, the distance, the straightness, that's why there's all kinds of lines here. So this pole is exactly 12 foot from this pole. And you can see it's not centered because these footings were put in the ground before I was able to start measuring. Now, if you're putting this whole thing on a flat concrete pad, then you don't have so much of this to do. But if you're doing what I'm doing, then you want to make sure that the distance between each of your footings is the same. That way your whole structure will be square to itself. So, hope I didn't make anybody else dizzy, because I got a little dizzy there. So we've got this, you can see, tightened down to the bucket, which is in the ground, which is full of concrete. So this is holding this fixed, that's holding that fixed. Now, the next thing I did...
3 weeks later.
Hi, I'm Jamie, and I'm a dumb bitch. Today, we're drilling holes in concrete.
10 seconds later.
Hi, I'm Jamie. Welcome to another Cork Industries video. It's a nice shiny day here in Oregon, so we're doing things and stuff. More specifically, I'm going to drill a hole and then I'm going to put some bolts in it. And that's because we're still working on the shed. So we're at the point now where we need to secure the footings. So I have Tapcons. These are Tapcons. They're special screw lag things that go into concrete. They come with, usually they come with a drill bit in the box. You can get them other ways, but I got the ones that came with a drill bit, so it's the perfect size. It's meant to go in concrete. I've got my drill set to hammer time mode, so it'll help chisel into the concrete. And yeah, so we're gonna anchor this corner down and then work our way around, making sure everything is like straight-ish. I've kind of given up on perfection because, well, you've seen the ground. It's never going to be perfect, so we're just looking for good and secure and to tell the wind to leave us alone. So I'm going to go drill a hole now. Come and watch. Now that the hole is drilled, hopefully I can put this in and it will work and not just crack the concrete. Oh, I told you I found apps to put on the cameras that will dump the feed straight into OBS, right?
Yeah.
That means that I can record like all of them all the time just to a fucking hard drive. So it'll just always capture everything. Okay, so the structure is officially structured. It is all erected and as level and true and straight as it's gonna get. I did my best and it got to the point where I was just gonna be here forever trying to get it exact, and I had to stop myself. Like I was definitely being a little too picky about it. There's a couple of spots where it's a little obvious that it's not quite perfect, but that's okay. The roof part is straight. The bottom rails are straight and in line. It's as good as we're ever going to get it for the location that it's in. So with that being said, we are going to walk around, kind of point out how everything's gotten done. And yeah, then we'll be able to put the roof on it and we'll have a nice garage studio area for fancy new videos and things. So let's take a walk around and I can point out kind of what's been done. Okay, this is the post where it all started. This is the first one we had in the ground. You can see we've got the Tapcons in it, so it's not going anywhere if I shake it. And then this is fairly straight going down. As straight as it's gonna get anyway. And you can see we got the other buckets here. That one I need to put some washers on. I realized that those Tapcons are the same size as the hole. So yeah, that's that's problematic. That one kind of got off a little bit, but it's okay. Another one. And then the last one. And then going to the other side gets a little more interesting. So this one I wanted in the ground, at least some. So it's on a block. And you can see I've got it Tapcon and bracketed, so it's not going to move if I shake it either. And then this one needed to go up a little bit, so it's got some washers under it. And then this one, this whole area was in a hole. So I took some treated 2x4s and doubled them up together to make a 4x4 basically. to get the height. So on the other side here, it's tack-con down. And then on that bucket, it is as well. And then back to the front. And that's all of the footings. And we have our nice structure. Hi, Jamie here with Korg Industries. It's another nice sunny Oregon day, so we're trying to get the roof on. I've got the one panel up there, just kind of seeing how it's going to go. The 4 center panels are a little different. Their holes are drilled in different spots because the top, the angled part there, has 2 pre-drilled holes to help line everything up. So you do the center section first, and then everything else can be based off of that. Do have a slight complaint about the shed kit. These are the little screws it came with, the self-tappers. Self-tapper itself seems fine, but their plastic washer things are not really great. The ones that I normally buy, this is a little bit softer of a material, so it squishes. These are hard enough that when I put them in up there, it squished the metal instead of the little ring. So we've decided that we're going to put some silicone under them to help seal them, because once I get the roof on, I won't be able to reach them to do it like as an afterthought. So I've got the caulk gun here loaded up with some GE silicone. I suppose other brands work fine. I've always used the GE one here simply because I've had good luck with it. So yeah, you could definitely use something else. You could even go to the store and get different self-tappers, or you could even just get the little seal pieces. I actually have some bigger ones for the truck project that are rubber and have a metal washer. They're real nice, but I don't have any this size, so the silicone will work. Stay tuned and watch as I get the roof on. Be sure to like and subscribe. Give us that thumbs up. And comment below if you have thoughts or want to point out something that I did wrong, because I'm sure I did something wrong. But, you know, we're going for good enough. So, yeah, sit back, relax, and enjoy my struggling while you don't have to. These bolts here are kind of in a depression, so I'm putting a little extra silicone just to make sure they're sealed. I shouldn't have to do this on the rest of them. So the kit came with some foam tape stuff to put between the panels to be like sealant. The reason I had the silicone is I opted to just use silicone on the seams. That way I know it won't be a problem. I don't know that I trust the foam tape to seal completely. So I'm going to put a bead of silicone along the holes for the screws on both sides of this panel. And that will also take care of sealing where our screws go. So it's kind of a twofer. So it'll be a little easier than what I did on the first panel. Flashlight to do like a 360 inside.